Hey, Livingstones Church, Pastor Kirk here with a weekly update. I know they haven't been weekly lately, and we're going to try to get back into rhythm because, hey, we do want to do a good job at communicating with our church family and making sure that, people know what's happening, and also not just know what's happening, but we're living stones all together and actually are integrating and being a part of the work that God is doing in our church family. We don't want to be a detached church where people are unaware and uninvolved. We want to be a church that's all in to be being built up by Jesus for His purposes in our church and in the city and for the city. And so I just want to do another weekly update, cover a few things. And the first thing for this week is I want to ask you guys all to come out on Sunday to our church family meeting. That's from 3 to 5 p.m. At the building. We do these typically quarterly, in the season leading up to the founding of Livingstone's Church. We did them very often, and I think we've taken a step back because we didn't want to overwhelm people with meetings all the time, because none of us like that. But we do think it's important for the whole church to come together in what some would call like a members meeting. We call it a church family meeting. Whatever that is called, it's just the church coming together for a time where the elders can pass on some important vision and updates, and people can ask questions, and we can actually kind of just move forward, make sure that we are on the same page as a church. And so I want to give you a little preview of what's going to be talked about at that meeting, so that if you can't be there, you're at least a little bit aware. But please come out, unless you're out of town for some reason, this Sunday, March 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. And so here's a couple things that we're going to talk about. First of all, I'm very excited to say that after Easter, our teaching series is going to be the book of Exodus all the way up until Advent. Very excited about that. I know I get lots of questions from people like, hey, where are we going, and what is God leading in the Word? And so that's where we're going for a lot of reasons that maybe we'll give more detail about. The other thing I wanted to just mention, and we'll talk more in depth at the meeting about, is that, we have had 4 membership classes, and they have all gone extremely well. Over 175 people have attended these membership classes, and we're excited that along with the leader launch cohort, the 6-month cohort we've been doing, and the elder in training cohort, we're just seeing God form the church at this time. And we believe it's a foundation for being an ongoing disciple-making church and a church-planting church. That's our desire. And so all of this is taking place in a very short amount of time. We have to remember, we've only been a church for like 9 months. And 3 months of that was soft launch period, where we were just kind of trying to figure things out. And of course, we'd say we still haven't figured things out. So anyway, in a short amount of time, we have been forming the foundation of this church by the grace of God. And so we'll talk about that on Sunday. We'll talk about our finances and give you guys an update. We'll talk about our new mission agency, LiveSent Global, that is an outgrowth of all the historic church planting partners over the years in our church. And there's going to be other things we talk about. Now, one of the main things we're going to mention is what's coming up for us as a church very shortly, and that is Holy Week, including Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday. I want to kind of give a little shout out here to that, because we need to kind of focus on this as a church. And the way I always put it is, look, Easter is kind of like the Super Bowl for Christians. We celebrate this day, and one of my favorite quotes is from N.T. Wright. Not necessarily one of my favorite theologians all the time, but one of my favorite quotes comes from him, and he says that really Christians during this Easter period, and specifically on Easter, should be going around throwing parties, doing parades in the street, splashing water on people in remembrance of their baptism. And basically he just gives this idea that there should be a big party because we have something to celebrate, the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. And so we want to intentionally, as a church, and I want to call you as a member of our church, as somebody who's part of Living Stones, I want to call you to engage fully in Holy Week, okay? And so let me detail what's happening, and we'll go through this on Sunday as well. But Maundy, Thursday, the week of Holy Week, we're going to be in our GCs. So that week only, we'll be switching from Wednesday night to Thursday night, unless your GC can't do that. Your leaders have been kind of informed about this, and they'll talk with you about it. But we'll move our GCs to Thursday night, and in those GCs, we'll have a meal, just like the Last Supper meal, not necessarily a Seder meal, but we'll have a meal together, and then we'll take communion together in remembrance of when Jesus instituted the new covenant in his blood. And so on Good Friday, then, we'll have a Good Friday service or gathering at the church all together as a church. That'll be a special time to reflect on the power of the cross. And then on Easter Sunday, three things will happen. First will be a sunrise service in the morning, and we'll give more details about that on Sunday. If you remember last year, we do a very short communion service on sunrise. That's where we take communion on Easter, is during that sunrise gathering together at 7 p.m. And then we'll have our regular Easter gathering, and we want to encourage you, invite people to that, call people to that. This is an opportunity for us to proclaim the good news of the resurrection of Jesus. So 10 a.m. On Sunday, and then immediately following that, this is where I kind of need you guys to hone in if you can. Last year we did this, and New City, one of the churches that merged to form Living Stones, had this tradition where we'd have a big kind of like bring your best barbecue potluck after Easter Sunday morning. And so, or in the past, it was before Easter Sunday gathering. And so we're going to do that. But from the other side of our church family, historically, we've had a Easter egg hunt and kind of like outreach event. And so what we're doing this year is we're going to have our Easter Sunday morning gathering, or a celebration, our normal worship service that will be a little bit extra special that we invite people into. And then immediately following that, we're going to have all the barbecue stuff. We're going to have a time together to have a potluck and celebrate together and have a party. And we're going to invite our neighbors into that. And so we're kind of calling it an Easter community picnic, cookout, and egg hunt. And so it'll be from 12 to 2, basically. And the first hour will just be eating together. And then the second hour we'll have a special way we're going to do like the egg hunt and things for kids this year. And so that's the time. Even if people can't make it to our Sunday morning service or don't want to come to a church, they could come to that community picnic, cookout, and egg hunt from 12 to 2 afterwards. And so I want to encourage you to invite people to that. And there's the last thing. We need, as a church, we need to work together to make that happen. I just want to call upon a little bit the New City side. You guys were very familiar with doing the potluck. And so I want to ask you to let Heath, one of our pastor elders, and his wife Casey, let them know that you can be involved. We have a sign up for grilling and barbecue, and we kind of need to know now who's going to be involved with that. And then on the other side, man, Cole Community was so good at this egg hunt. And we have people like Ashley Madsen who are going to help organize this year. But we need people to let us know that they're going to be involved as well in that. And so please do sign up on Sunday. We'll have a sign up available. We'll talk about this at the members meeting as well, the family meeting. And one of the things I'd say is, like, we're working this out as a church as we've come together. We're this new church. And it feels like, I think some people think because we're a little bit bigger church that they're not as important, but actually that's not true. You are important, and we need everyone, all hands on deck, everyone involved in things like this, because that's where joy comes from, and that's where it becomes a celebration all together, and we get to experience it together. That's a shared church family life. And then B, like, simply, if somebody thinks I'm not important, I don't need to be involved, I guarantee you 3 other people think that same thing. And then it just becomes a stress. And honestly, as staff, we've been talking about this. We're not trying to run something to make people serve. This is stuff that the church wants to do. And now we just need to all come together. And as a staff, I'd say Paul led through weakness sometimes. He said, hey, I need your help. And I'd say, like, we need your help. We need to work together. And so please get involved with Easter Sunday in some way so that some people can serve during the cooking time and the food time, and some people can serve during the more outreach kind of egg hunt and things for kids. So that's something I want to mention. A couple other things real quick, and then I'll close up. It's been a while since the last update. So one thing I want to mention is Josh at the family meeting will give an update on gospel communities. And so, I won't go into detail there, but just a reminder, gospel communities, if you're not involved with one, that's the main way we live our life together as a church. So Sundays, gospel communities, and then everything else is supplemental to support that life as a church together. And so I'll just mention that. I did want to mention, I've been getting some questions or, just people wondering about, men's and women's ministry recently, and I wanted to kind of mention that to you. So first of all, those ministries, men's, women's ministries, we want to say first, find those in your gospel communities. In your gospel community, get in groups of 3 to 4 guys or gals and spend some extra time together, and you have an inbuilt men's and women's ministry. That is our overarching philosophy as a church. Now, we want to gather all the men. We want to gather all the women from time to time, and there are things going on, some things, but irregular or in less frequent of a rhythm. And so I wanted to mention a couple things. First of all, for the men, we just had the men's retreat recently. We do that once a year. Second, for the men, we try to gather once a month. It usually turns out to be once every couple months, and either eat together or have a guest speaker, or we want to do things as well, like go on a camp out together. There's things that the men will come together. We have a small men's team, myself, David Cochran, and Kyle Kamek, and some other guys have been involved a little bit as well. So we'd like to say, hey, if you are interested, come talk to me. Let's join the team. The second thing I want to mention is with women's ministry. You may not know, because the timing of the merger and the way it happened, we have tons of women's Bible studies going on. So if people look and say, like, hey, this is happening for the men, well, actually, historically and even currently, there's way more stuff happening for the women. Women's Bible studies are going on. Marianne Porter is a volunteer staff member for us at the church, and she leads that. And then we have people like Katie Cochran who are leading a Bible study on as well. So Bible study is happening all the time. Now, we are looking to form a women's team that could think about and pray through with the pastors and elders, how can we support the overall discipleship of the women in context with the gospel communities and supplement that. And so all I'd say is please just be patient with that. Also, if you'd like to be involved, we're putting that together. And because one of our pastors, Josh, is going on sabbatical, I'm primarily as a staff pastor contacting and trying to draw those women together just to make sure that we have people available to serve together in a women's team. And so if that's on your heart, I want to ask you, please, would you come see me as well and say that you want to be involved with that, because it's not for intentionality or desire that we want to make sure that our women know where to go and know how to connect with other women. It's just we need a team to do that. Okay. And if you have any questions, I also want to encourage you, go to one of the pastors' wives, go to the deacons who are primarily women in our church, and then also go to the wives of the GC leaders. And there's inbuilt avenues for women's ministry in our church that way. Okay. So with that said, I'm not going to say anything else for this weekly update other than when you come on Sunday to the church family meeting, come prepared. We want to get everybody to have a picture in Church Center, our database, so that you also opt into the directory, and then we can all see each other. Because honestly, sometimes, I'm sure you met somebody at church on Sunday, and then you're like, you look up their name, but you're not sure about their face. And so we'll be asking you at the church family meeting just to upload a picture of yourself into our Church Center, which is our church directory, and for you to opt in so that people can know you if you're really a part of our church. That's really important. So all that to say, there's a weekly update. I hope that helps cast a little vision. But come on Sunday, March 15th, 3 to 5 p.m., because that's where we're going to go in depth and make sure that as we form this church, God is forming this church, we move forward together. So God bless you guys, and excited to see you on Sunday.